Hi there, and welcome to Lesson 3.6, Chronic Conditions and the Great American Payout. In today's lesson, we are going to get familiar with the health and economic costs of the most widespread conditions affecting Americans today, and that will most likely affect you or someone that you love within your lifetime. Remember, this video goes a little fast, so if you haven't done so already, have the presentation notes in front of you, and be sure to watch the video all the way through for the first time, and then go back to the parts that you need more clarity on. Some of you might be thinking, how does learning about these conditions help me, even if I don't have all these health issues? Well, learning about these conditions provides you with a broader scope and gives you better insight whenever there is a need to learn more, which we will go into in more detail in our next lesson. This video was designed so that you can further refine your ability to communicate as an informed advocate on your healthcare team, establish researching skills, and advance your literacy level and your ability to navigate throughout the healthcare system more easily. So let's get started. First, let's define chronic conditions. Chronic conditions are defined broadly as conditions that last 1 year or more and require ongoing medical attention and limit the activities of daily living, or both. 90% of the nation's $3.3 trillion in annual health expenditures go to chronic conditions. 6 in 10 adults in the U.S. have chronic conditions. 4 in 10 adults in the U.S. have 2 or more chronic conditions. And here are the list of conditions that we're going to go through in this video: heart disease and stroke, cancer, diabetes, obesity, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, epilepsy, and tooth decay. Nothing kills more Americans than heart disease and stroke. More than 877,500 Americans die of heart disease or stroke every year. That's 1/3 of all deaths. These diseases take an economic toll as well, costing our healthcare system a whopping $216 billion and causing $147 billion in lost productivity each year. Each year in the United States, more than 1.7 million people are diagnosed with cancer, and almost 600,000 die from it, making it the second leading cause of death. The cost of cancer care continues to rise and is expected to reach more than $240 billion by 2030. More than 37 million Americans have diabetes, and another 96 million adults have a condition called prediabetes. Diabetes can cause serious complications, including heart disease, kidney failure, and blindness. In 2017, a total estimated cost for Americans, as well as the U.S. healthcare system, of diagnosed diabetes was a whopping $327 billion in medical costs and lost productivity. Obesity affects 20% of children and 42% of adults. Diabetes puts people at risk for other chronic conditions, such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and some cancers. Over 25% of young people ages 17 to 24 are too heavy to join the U.S. military. Obesity affects the U.S. healthcare system nearly $173 billion a year. Arthritis affects 58.5 million people, or about 1 in 4 adults, and is the leading cause of work disability. Arthritis is one of the most common chronic conditions and is a common cause of chronic pain. The total cost attributable to arthritis and related conditions was about $303.5 billion in 2013. Of that amount, nearly $140 billion was for medical costs, and the other $164 billion was for indirect costs associated to lost earnings. Alzheimer's disease, a type of dementia, is an irreversible, progressive brain disease that affects 5.7 million Americans, including 1 in 10 adults aged 65 and older. It is the 6th leading cause of death among all adults and the 5th leading cause of death aged 65 and older. In 2020, an estimated cost of caring for and treating people with Alzheimer's disease was $305 billion. By 2050, the costs are projected to be more than $1.1 trillion. In the United States, about 3 million adults and 470,000 children and teens younger than the age of 18 have active epilepsy, meaning that they have been diagnosed by a physician, had a recent seizure, or both. Adults with epilepsy report worse mental health, more cognitive impairment, and barriers in social participation compared to adults without epilepsy. In 2016, healthcare spending for epilepsy was about $8.6 billion in direct costs. Cavities, also called tooth decay, are one of the most common chronic diseases in the United States. 1 in 6 children aged 6 to 11 years and 1 in 4 adults have untreated cavities. Untreated cavities can cause pain and infections that may lead to problems, such as eating, speaking, or learning. On average, 34 million school hours are lost each year because of unplanned emergency dental care, and over $45 billion are lost in productivity due to dental diseases. Now let's take a look at how we age and the risk for conditions change. The National Council of Aging in 2017 reported that 80% of elderly adults has one or more chronic condition. Of that, 68% has 2 or more chronic conditions. And the culprits for these onsets are diabetes, arthritis, and kidney and bladder problems. Now here's a list of common chronic conditions for the folks over 65. Hypertension goes up to 58%, high cholesterol 47%, arthritis 31%, heart disease 29%, and diabetes at a whopping 27%. Now that we have gone through this lesson, it's time for you to fill out the chronic condition management form. Afterward, you can file it in the front communication pocket in your Health Manager for safekeeping. And if you want to learn more about how to fill out this form or any other topic in health management, please join us on our social media platforms like Meetup, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'd love to see you there. And that concludes our video for today in learning about the leading conditions that are currently affecting our healthcare system and lost earnings. Join me in our next lesson to learn about how to research and what you need to do to present your findings to your provider in a way that will quickly launch your credibility as a serious player on your healthcare team.